Hi, I'm Jake Duhan, PTA Global Faculty and ViPR Master Trainer. I'm coming to you from Houston, Texas, and I just wanted to take you through a little bit of a reconditioning program. And reconditioning is basically just preparing an environment for the body's soft tissue to be able to move through load to unload patterns in the most efficient manner. Starting out, what we'll do is we're going to go into an RXX pattern. So that's the right foot forward, feet about shoulder width apart, ViPR right in between the legs. And all we're going to be doing is just simply driving that ViPR forward and coming back up nice and easy and getting a good extension in that hip as we go through. And remember, in reconditioning, everything's going to be about nice, fluid, rhythmical motion. So what I want to kind of introduce as well today through reconditioning is a way that we can start to incorporate variable movement patterns within the client session. This is really important. Just because of the construct and the way that the body is naturally designed to receive and mitigate force throughout the structure. If our structures are receiving force in a unilinear pattern or just in one particular set area, such as I'm doing here, I'm only just moving the ViPR in the sagittal plane, just front and back, then my tissues are only going through a load and unload pattern within that single plane. So when we add variable motion, or we add more forces or more vectors into the body to receive force, we have a greater adaptation phase that can commence within the body, and therefore we're really working the tissue the way it's meant to be moved. So what I can do is, as a base movement like I'm showing you right now, I have switched to LXX. What I can do is, as I start to switch back in just a second, I'm going to start to add some variable movement on this second round of this particular movement. And so all I'm doing is just keeping that rhythmical pattern. And I'm going to go ahead and switch back to RXX. And what I'm going to do now is I'm not only going to drive that ViPR forward, still keeping my same nice fluid motion extending through the spine, but I'm going to start to take that ViPR into some unknown patterns. And as I go through those unknown patterns, I'm actually introducing different forces into the entire fascial matrix and allowing for greater stimulus. And I'm allowing for that fascia to actually move the way that it's supposed to. So it's supposed to receive and then mitigate that stress in a randomized pattern, just like we do in our day-to-day life. So I'm going to go LXX. And I think that that's a really important concept to kind of take into consideration, because what we do with our clients in the gym directly affects what kind of outcomes we want for them in their life. And of course, we want the best movement and the best mobility possible for clients as soon as they leave us. Not only does that make our clients happy, but we can start looking at some great business potential with our clients coming back and having great adherence to their exercise programs. So I have that variation right as I'm going in. All right, so that was a very simple reconditioning movement. What I want to do is I want to take it a little bit further. So a lot of times when we hear reconditioning, we think, it's a little bit boring. That slow to moderate movement or that rhythmical type movement, and it's not for me. I like the force, or I like the power. I want to feel that movement. So for a client that might want a little bit more stimulus, of course we want to take them through a progression as we move through. We can start to integrate the body into much more full body motions. So a full lengthening and a full shortening of the soft tissue as we go integrated motion with this movement pattern than just a basic reconditioning movement. So for those clients that want just a little bit more, or we want to progress them maybe a little bit further, we can start to get much more body-wide integration through their structure by incorporating more integrated movements. So go for a little bit more. All right, and then this last one, what we're going to do, I'm going to go back to RXX. So to add that variable movement pattern, what I'm going to do is, as I drive that right hand down, I'm just going to pick different spots on the floor Doesn't have to be any type of sequence, but what I want to do is I want to keep it random, and I want to keep it so that it's unknown. So as I start moving through, I can take that same motor pattern down. That ViPR can still take me into dorsiflexion in that left ankle. I can drive up to the same spot. As I come back down, I might want to drive further away from the body and then come back up. I might want to go into more of the frontal plane, come back up. I might want to drive opposite, lateral, right lateral, back up. I can go left posterior lateral, back up. I can still come back anterior. And I just want to keep that randomized as I move through that range of motion on that one side. So I have that variability that's put into that motion. And again, still keeping that nice rhythmical fluid motion as I go through the motor pattern. Okay? Switching up, LXX, same thing. So coming down, coming back up, picking a different spot, right lateral, coming up, going to pick left lateral, coming back up, going to go back anterior. I can go anterior to initial range of motion. I can go anterior to end range of motion. I can go left lateral to initial range of motion. Each different variable pattern is going to have a different effect on the body than the next. And the more unknown we have, the greater for the body. So just keep on moving through. Excellent. Very good. Okay. So the biggest thing to remember, especially when we start adding variable movement, the body is naturally designed to receive randomized stress and to mitigate that stress throughout our system in load to unload patterns. The more that we start to engage the body that way, the better we're going to have mobility for any person's structure, and the better we can start seeing mobility once they leave the gym. Very important also is to make sure that we're aware of where the client is at that day. So we have to, on a physical level, a mental emotional level, and especially a lifestyle level, know where is that client coming to us for the day, and what can we do with them, or what is their body allowing us to do that day. So we want to be able to identify and have some type of assessment of where their range of motion is before we just start throwing out really crazy movement patterns that could potentially cause more harm than good. So make sure that you do have a good awareness of where they're at that day. Get to know your clients, have fun with this, use that variable movement, and go try some reconditioning today. Jake Duhan, thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.